Hey, Ann, how's it going? Hmm. All right. Hey, Birdie Wooster. Hey, Ann. Let's see. We'll see who shows up today. This is a weird, not weird. It's just a. Let's see. There we go. Hey. Okay. I'm also doing this. I haven't done this on just my laptop. I'm. I wish I could show you. I cannot touch anything, but I wish I could show you that the microphone is hanging from the like. It's not really a chandelier. It looks like the hat that Melania Trump wore for the inauguration, which some people are calling the Hamburglar hat. That is what the chandelier looks like. And the microphone, because I brought the microphone and the cable, but I didn't bring a mic stand. That's hard to put in your luggage. What's up, everybody? Okay, my name is Dallas Vietti. This is the accordion stream for my teaching channel, my accordion teaching channel called Rising Reed. And let's see, and I'm live from Vancouver. This is a very boring backdrop. I would say we're in a nice Airbnb, but it's really boring, and the lighting is horrible. It's like so bright with I guess LED bulbs. It really, I feel like I'm in some sort of interrogation room or something. Maybe this is what people in the Pacific Northwest need. Birdie, maybe you can comment on this. Is this what happens like from everywhere from Portland north? It's just like, okay, we don't get that much daylight, so we need super bright inside lighting, or we just want to sit on the couch all day. I don't know. Anyways, it's been really nice. Today, because I'm traveling and I don't have the whole setup, Birdie says, no, the light hurts his eyes. Yeah. Wait, which light? The natural light or the inside LED lighting? Anyway, I'm on vacation this week, which is really nice. And yesterday, we're on vacation in Vancouver. And yesterday, I contacted Adam Kahn, who I had met, who's a professor. I believe he's a vocal professor, and he runs some choirs over at the University of Victoria, which is on Victoria Island in British Columbia, Canada. And Birdie says he's a cave dweller. Well, yes, that makes for a good musician, I would say. Um, and let's see, I got into Canada on Sunday night, pretty late. And Monday, what did I do on Monday? What did I do on Monday? A little bit of stuff. And then, oh, I know, we went to the Gastown district of Montreal, and we did a bunch of St. Patrick's Day stuff because it was St. Patrick's Day, and that was really fun. And then we came home, and then we woke up super early on Tuesday, which is yesterday. And the reason why the live stream didn't happen yesterday is because I knew I was coming up. So I contacted Adam Kahn, who's a professor who I met at Cinema. Adam was at Cinema 2 years ago because it didn't happen last year. But is that right? What year is this? Maybe it did happen last year. Anyway, was Adam there 2 years before? Anyway, oh man, I don't know. I need more coffee. I need more sunlight. But anyway, Adam also plays like bayan, amazing, and that's not even his like main thing. His main thing is choir and singing. But I hit him up and I said, "Hey, I know you're in this area. Like, what should I check out? what are the accordion things you know about in Vancouver and this and that? And he said, well, at the university, you're in luck because you'll be here when they have a grad student right now from Russia named Alexei. What is his name? Let's see here. I have him pulled up and we're going to listen to him in just a second. Alexei Pankratov. And I saw his first year grad student recital, which is a big deal. He's a performance major there from Russia, and he was a student of Friedrich Lipps. Friedrich Lipps is the most famous, biggest deal. He's kind of like the grandpa of the bayan in Russia, and Alexei was one of his students. I don't know for how long, but I certainly, when I YouTubed him today, I found him right there on the Friedrich Lipps YouTube channel, which we have watched together. And the program was really wonderful. I wonder if I can share the program with you guys. Let me see. I believe I can. Let me go to this, and then stop that, and then I'll share this. Okay, there we go. Okay, what is this? That looks good. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that? I'll zoom in. But this is the program. So we played Les Cyclopes, which is a piece that I actually have started working on. I would love to play it on the freebase. It's a harpsichord piece, and I'm in love with this particular performance by a harpsichordist named Trevor Pinnock. Solo harpsichord piece. It really rocks. It's very cool. Then he played really three pieces from the English suite, which is a legendary compositions by Bach. And those were very challenging and very beautiful. And he played 3 of the seasons by Tchaikovsky. We've on this live stream before, we've listened to the season October as done by one of the Italian bandoneon players, and his name is escaping me, and I apologize to that wonderful musician, but it'll come back. And these were really phenomenal. They were very moving. October especially was very emotionally connecting. And then he brought out a flute player, Aaron Sarkisian, who they played this Francis Poulenc piece, which was very cool. It involved a lot of cool, not really extended techniques for flute, but cool tonguing and lots of different stuff. And it's like this kind of time period where the harmonies are getting really chromatic and weird, but a lot of the other parts of music still seem very sort of tonal and from the classical era. So very neat, and a lot of like what we might call like jazzy chords, ninths and stuff like that. And then, which we're going to listen to, he played a Rondo Capriccioso, which is written by Vladislav Zolotarov. And I know this piece, I learned about this stuff over at Cinema. I've been to Cinema on a couple different trips now. And I'm trying to think, like maybe 4 weeks total, two different trips over there, I think, for 2 weeks each, or a week and a half and then 2 weeks. And I've learned that Zolotarov is considered one of the most important contemporary composers for accordion. He happens to be Russian and really crucial to the whole bayan kind of scene and all that kind of stuff. And his music is performed a ton. And I was familiar with the piece. I recognized it because at Cinema, they have I'm sure there's a word for it, I don't know, but like their students who are kind of like young adults. So teenage years, like middle to late teenagers who are getting ready to go pursue a career and go to university to study music. They're working on super challenging pieces and they're working on competitions and all this sort of stuff. And they might take like a year to learn a piece or something like that. And so I would have at Cinema, when you do their stage, which is like their workshops that they last 1 week, and the culmination of the stage of the workshop, stage is the French word which means workshop essentially. The culmination of that is a performance at the local little performing arts room It's like kind of a rental hall or whatever. Or somewhere else in the area. It's usually there, but not always. And one of the young adults there was just a really talented young guy, and I heard him playing parts of this, and it's important because he needs to, even though it's unfinished and stuff, he needs to get all the kinks. He needs to be super, super comfortable with it on stage. So it needs to be performed as much as possible while it's being learned, while it's still slow, while there's still mistakes, while things are still kind of ugly and gunky and not quite together, because that's the pathway to being able to master it, especially, I think, in an earlier stage of artistic development, I might say, like somebody in a young adulthood versus a grad student. I have no idea when Alexei, who I saw yesterday, started working on this piece, but it was just cool because I was already familiar with it, and I had already heard it from a different musician in a number of times, actually, in different ways. And so it was really cool because I recognized it, and that's always so great. And so that was a really cool piece. And I found a video, which we'll watch shortly, of Alexei performing this Rondo Capriccioso. Let me zoom out on this. There. And then there was two things that were kind of more popish, I would say, less like serious concert repertoire music. Although this piece, Histoire du Tango, or History of Tango, written by Piazzolla, does seem to get performed a lot by, like, if we look this up, we would find universities all over the world, the classical departments performing this, which is really interesting. I don't know why. I would like to know why this one seems to be performed more by classical musicians. I don't know if Piazzolla deliberately wrote it in a way that's like more classical or just happened. I have no idea. But anyways, that was a beautiful tango with the flautist as well. Sarkisian, I believe. And then he finished with a Renzo Ruggiero piece. Renzo is an Italian, I know him mostly as a very famous accordion teacher whose students win like the Coupe Mondiale and that sort of stuff. And he finished with that piece. So we might check out some of that. I didn't take any video because I thought that the most respectful thing for me to do, given that this is a professional artist sort of, I don't know, it's just like, it's not for me. Like I didn't feel like it's for me to platform his work or to decide which of his pieces I should show with this audience. I suppose I could have. In fact, I'm here on vacation with 4 other people, and 2 of them said, "Hey, I wanted to see the video." They couldn't come; they had to do something else. And I was like, "Oh shoot, I should have taken video for them." But I was just thinking about for you guys for the live stream. I was like, it's not for me. Like for him, I want to respect it. I think it's because it's like not a public concert, really. I mean, it was open to the public, but it's part of his degree matriculation, and that seems sort of like not quite, the same. Anyways, he might say something. He might say, "I don't care. You could." But anyways, I didn't. But I did find a video of him very recently, like 4 months ago. So why don't I break up my talking about all that stuff we'll listen to Rondo Capriccioso. And it's quite intense. I mean, this is something that it's a quality I would assign to a lot of the contemporary Russian accordion music that I've heard. Super intense. But let's check this out. I wonder what you guys think of this. And hey, Nomad Farmer, I'm trying to look at your emote here. Is that a koala? I can't see it. No. Anyway, okay. So here is Alexei. Okay, thank you so much, Birdie. So let's see, what am I doing wrong here? Let me make sure I have all my stuff hooked up. Live stream, that should work. Okay, thank you. What am I doing wrong? This is a different, I need a second to think this through. No sound, okay. I have the live stream set. I'm just using different headphones. Usually comes out of there. What else could be going on? I'll try Zoom instead. Not you, I'm just talking to myself. You guys don't have to worry about this. Okay. Let me know now, Birdie, and sorry everybody. Do you hear it now? Still no sound. Okay, that's weird. So what am I doing wrong here? The travel setup. I need a moment to think about this. Sorry, everybody. What am I doing wrong? Still no sound. That's weird. Make that happen. You can hear my microphone. Yeah, no sound for Anne either. Okay, what am I doing wrong here? Let's see, that should be routing. Okay, I'm gonna keep fooling with it. So I'll ask again. Oh, now you have sound? Wait, seriously, you hear sound now? That's so weird. So it's not, now you hear the accordion. That's I didn't even do anything. Okay, bizarre. Well, I'll start it again. Please just confirm that you can hear it. Can you still hear it? Okay, thank you. and that's it. That is the tune. And pretty much sounded exactly like that. I think even there was like one part where I heard him make like a little teeny mistake in this recording, but I didn't hear any in the recital performance. Really totally spectacular. I also thought, I had talked to Adam Kahn, the professor, and he said, oh, we have this student who's from Russia, an accordion student playing classical accordion, and I expected a button accordion. I expected a bayan. So it was when I got there and he came out on stage, I said, oh, it's a piano accordion. How cool. Because we don't see those musicians as much on piano accordion as we do on the Russian bayan accordion. I also want to look up Yelena. No, I clicked on the wrong one. Here we go. So this is the professor of the accordion department in Victoria, British Columbia. And let's see, she is the teacher of Alexei, who we just saw for these 2 years while he's at school. Oh, you guys can't see. Okay. You should be able to see. Yes. Okay, there we go. So this is Yelena Milozhevek. And let's find something recent. Let's see. Here she is at the Kotadi Accordion Festival. And I guess she plays with Corey some. I don't want to watch those, though. Let's see. Let's watch. It doesn't tell us. Oh, that's 8 years ago. This is also 8 years ago. This is 6 months ago. Let's see. Let me find this here. What's on her channel, I wonder? That's 7 years ago. I just want to find something that's kind of more recent. Let's see. Let me go to filters. Maybe this year. I don't want to watch her with Corey. Okay, that's not a great angle. But let's see what this is. Okay. Let me just see if I can find something that's like more, a little bit better video here. So we can check her out. 10 months ago. Solo accordion, though. These are just not the greatest. Filmed. No, and then now it's a lot of things that aren't her. Okay. Well, we'll go back and we'll just say, let's filter by upload date. Okay. Accordion Fest. There's a lot of dead air here, guys. Sorry. It's another person with the same two names. Okay, let's just check out that super well produced one from the Canadian Broadcasting Company. This one. I would rather hear Dark Eyes, I guess, than Flight of the Bumblebee. I don't really care for Flight of the Bumblebee personally. Very cool. Okay. I was just trying to see if I could pull up the University of Victoria. So Canada has at least two degree programs because they have this one at the University of Victoria, and then the University of Toronto is also has a accordion program there in their music department, which is pretty cool. Actually, the three because is it McGill? One of the colleges in Montreal is where Sergio Popa is the accordion professor there. So yeah, very cool, very very cool. All right, now let's see what else. Well, like I said, I've been on vacation, so I definitely have the artist way stuff prepared. But okay, why don't I talk a little bit about what I'm doing now? I was talking about this is attached to the overhead light. The camera is the same camera, which is a good camera, but it's on top of a toaster, so I cannot adjust it, which I learned in a group class that I taught this morning. These headphones are not my regular headphones either. But let's see. So my practice, for a while now, I've been doing the practicing taking a tune through 12 keys, and I pick one or two tunes and I work on them over a week, and then I'll swap it up. And those songs have been maybe the ones from let's see. Is that too low? Can you see me now? Maybe. This is a terrible chair and a terrible angle to be at. This is a stool, which I don't do well at. Can you guys hear this? Okay. Oh, I can't get back far enough. Okay. All right, that's a little better. Okay. So the flow that I've been doing is to take Indifference and put that through 12 keys, which is fun. It's kind of an intimidating song to learn. I've been playing it for a long time now. So I know it very well in the key of E minor. And actually, I know it a little bit in the key of F minor because that's the first key I ever learned it on. Because if you listen to the recordings that are on Spotify by by Tony Morena, they're in F minor for whatever reason. I don't know. I've heard some theories on it. But everybody plays it these days in the key of E minor. But I've been doing it in 12 keys, which is fun. I know it so well that I mostly get through it. There's a couple spots that I haven't completely worked it out. So the little descending scales and stuff here and there. But in general, I've got it. And that's fun. And I'll just kind of show you my flow. So I'll take a key. Let's see. Let's take, I don't know, Bertie or Ann, name a key here. Give me a key and we'll do it in that key. And I'll kind of show you my flow. And it's working. I'm super addicted to this. It's been a really great period of practice. Okay, A flat. Okay, yeah, that's one of the worst ones. Bravo. Okay, so A flat. So I'm going to do A flat down here. I could also do it way up here, but this is a thing that I am absolutely learning is as I take these tunes through 12 keys, I'm learning so much about the stradella and what are the better shapes to do things in. I'm just teasing you, Bertie. But I didn't want an easy one. That's no fun. So what I'll do is I will go through and I'll do the left hand, and I'm adding relaxation. I talked about this on the stream last time. I'm adding relaxation to my touch. So you could go back if you haven't seen this stream, you can go back to last week's stream where I talk about touch and control of the bellows and also relaxation. So all stuff that I picked up through the cinema school in France. And again, I do not want to misrepresent them at all. Really, any of this stuff should you should check it out from them. This is how I understand it right now, and also my take on it as used for my music. And also, this chair just sucks. It's a stool, and it doesn't get low enough, and I'm in this weird breakfast nook thing. Anyways, I'm going to do my best here. So I go through the left hand, and I have a lot of compression. Let me see. I'll turn the switch so you can see. So, and I'm working on pressing the notes and breathing through them, and then releasing my finger. And the chord. Now, I don't want the chords to sound like this when I play, but I want to work on the release of my touch. I want to build my nervous system to ride the key up instead of just jumping off of the button or key so that the door slams shut and gives a very harsh effect. I don't want that. So. And I do 4 bars opening and 4 bars closing. And what I do also is I build a break in there in time where I relax my hands. I don't want to touch the camera. I'm afraid I'll disconnect it or something. So I'm not going to do that. But okay, so I've kind of talked through it. Let me just show you. So it's a lot about relaxation. It's a lot about concentration. So here we go. Let's see. And now I've reached the 3rd bar. So I played to the downbeat of the 3rd bar, and I stop the pressure that's in my left arm, whether I'm opening or closing. In this case, I was opening, and I relax my left hand and my right hand too, other parts of my body. And then I close, and I do the next. So it's like I'm taciting. I'm resting so that music is going by in my head. I'm resting in time. So I would have played another 2 bars of A flat minor. So I close now. 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and I relax 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and here, and 2, 3. This really allows me to play in the air. 2, second half of the tune. That G is so low, it requires a lot of air. Relax in the dominant. 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and 2, 3, and I'm resting in the time. So there's music that should be going by here when I'm not playing it. Something like that. So I do that, which is 2 bars. Pa pa rest, 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 rest. And then I also do pa pa rest. Pa pa rest, rest. So I'll show you that. So both of these are really great, and they allow me to really learn how to attack on the air. So to put my note onto that big amount of the air. So here, rest, rest, and 2, and I relax my hand. Okay, that's all you need to see. I imagine that's not great viewing pleasure. But I go through that and it works great. And then after that, the next step of the cycle is doing the right hand melody. Very, very, I guess, rubato is a great way to describe it. And I am really trying to relax my hand. What I'm finding is for whatever reason, I don't know, I did, so somebody bought me a past life psychic thing, and I mentioned this, and she said I had some sort of trauma in another life. Anyways, in my hands, I have no idea, but I have a lot of just tension in my hand. And so this is good. I think this is really deep work. And so I'm just really trying to, especially with the chords, with the melody too, with everything, just play on the surface and ride the melody back up. And keep my hand relaxed. And all the notes are kind of the same length. And then I take a break in after a phrase. I really drop all the tension and then I do it again. And I don't really worry about the bellowing here because it could take so long. It's so not representative of the length of the melody that I just change bellows wherever I want. Different than where I would actually when I'm playing the piece. So next phrase. It's so much easier to do this when shutting the bellows. And I'm keeping my hand relaxed and just trying to use the minimum amount of, and it's a really beautiful sound. It really is. I know it sounds weird now, but I guarantee you this it makes this accordion sound so much better. That was a little harsh. Oh, sorry. It's so much easier on the close. Now I'm opening. And what I find is I'm trying to relax my hand before I press the note, because I think psychologically my tendency is to create some tension and strength before I press the note. And that's in there real deep. That is a very learned reflex. Stop and relax my hand. I know we have the second half. I know, sorry guys, but try this on your own and review the video from last week. That was too much. I'm going a little faster now. The black keys are so much harder because you don't have as much leverage. They're shorter distance to the fulcrum, and so more force and just harder. Let's see, we're on the here. It's really great. There's something so pleasurable, especially when I play after this. That was a little harsh. Okay. So after I do that through, one of the things that I find myself forgetting to do is stop after a phrase and relax the tension in my hand. I'm very cognizant about, trying to relax the tension in my hand as I press, and then relax it even more to bring it back up. And sometimes I forget in between the phrases. So then after that, then I play the two hands together. To the seventh. My bad. To the flat nine. Okay, all right. So there's some tension there, but I'm trying to play so light and so on the surface, and it's absolutely coming along. So then after that, I usually do the chords. This is all stuff that I've shown, but just keep you guys apprised. So the chords, A flat is a hard key because it's filled with so many black notes in these chords. And to make those chord shapes and relax the hand is a challenge, but it's good. I mean, it's all good. It's all good, you know. And so this I do very similar with a very similar concept. When I work on the right hand chords, I do it similar to how I do the left hand chords, which is chord, 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 rest, 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 rest. So I do like essentially 2 full bars of 3/4 time and 1 beat, 7 quarter notes. All right. 2, 3, relax my hand. 1, 2, 3. And this is so much easier pausing. Anyway, now I'm starting to get in my head and think that this is probably not enjoyable watching for a live stream. So I'm going to kind of rush through that. But so I do that through the whole tune with these block chords. And then I do the left hand with it. And basically my perspective on this is I'm trying to practice my touch and my bellows control and my relaxation in ways that are like I really play music, which is I think of chords, like I play accompaniment, you know, I ornament melodies, I take solos. And so I'm taking that whole craft and I'm making sure as I do that in 12 keys, I pick a key, you know, every time I sit down, I move up a half step. But as I do that, I'm also working on the touch and the relaxation and all that sort of stuff. And for me, that's the way to do it, because if I just did all this stuff on sheet music, on arrangements, it would not translate. It would not translate to the kind of music that I play, which is what I do is I make all my stuff up. I play in the tradition of jazz, which is every time I sit down and play, it's going to be different in many ways. And I want to be able to translate all this stuff. So that's why I do all this. So anyway, I do that on the chords, and then I do with the left hand. And then I just go ahead and play. And a lot of these steps of this cycle are like practice super isolated with relaxation, but very focused. Do it again another way, and then do it in a way that is a little bit more free. So you're almost like testing yourself. And I think that's really, really important to do. So now on the third step of the chords, I'm going to go ahead and just comp. Not an easy key. Probably definitely one of the hardest ones. This and G flat are probably the hardest, I would say. Okay, so I do that, and then I'll go ahead and solo. Usually, this used to be lower in the list, but usually I just find like after I've done all this, I'm like, okay, I want to solo. So I start with soloing on the roots. what I'm doing here is a couple things. First of all, I learned this method of soloing on the roots from a really amazing jazz tenor saxophone jazz guy named Ben Schachter in Philly, and he's a professor, and he knows his shit for sure. And his thing was just all about phrasing and, you know, how are you going to play a good solo on a whole bunch of notes if you can't even make one note sound good. So that was this. And I'm folding this into it, and I'm trying to, I usually take the tempo down and I just focus on the touch as well as the time. And in this, you can do octaves or whatever, and you can do little ornaments. My bellowing got all changed. That's okay. After I do that, I do the roots and the thirds. That's the fifth. Yeah. B flat, E flat, A flat. This is, I don't have my good table legs here because the stool is too high. Anyway, excuses. So I do that, and usually don't improvise any more on that, because then any further improvisation I do when I do the jazz sandwich, which is in a little bit. So after that, I go ahead and I do the block chords with the it's probably loud in the microphone. Just 3 notes because that's enough for me. Dominant. And here. And this is, you've heard all this before. And then I'll do down the scale, so fa, sa, da. I'll go down the same way, and then that's it. And then I've been doing a walking bass, and this has been interesting to do the walking bass. The walking bass is because when I have identified in my playing that I want to add a lot more movements where I'm playing bass notes and chords together in a like and I don't have control over that. When I'm doing this, I'm going down all the way to the bottom, profound, as the French say, all the way to the bottom, and I don't like it. It's not the sound I want. It's not the control I want. So as a little, and eventually I'd like to walk some bass on the left hand if I can figure out how to make a way to make it sound good. There's not too many people make it sound good on the accordion. So I go through and I just go super simple. So I go up, whatever chord that I'm on, I do 1, 2, 3 of the scale. And if it's 2 of the same chords in a row, I go down for the second measure. So it ends up sounding like this. And I run it through, I do my walking bass thing. So then it's hard. It requires a lot of precision of the bass that I've never really built. A lot of precision of left-hand fingers. And the touch. I've worked so much on my right hand, not my left hand, nearly the same amount. And you can totally do it if the touch is right and the air is right. It sounds so clunky right now. But it's going to get better over time. I know it. So then I add the right hand to it. So I'll do the melody and then I'll do chords. So I'll do a little bit of the melody. I messed it up already. Let me do that again. Okay. Anyway, you get the idea. And I think I messed the bellows up there too. You get the idea. I do that with that, and then I do the same chord shapes with resting. So dum, 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 theme, dum, 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 rest. And then after that, that's usually about it. And then I just go ahead and try to play the tune. So I try to like kind of do a little sort of a performance. Like it's usually a lot sloppier than I actually do if people are listening. So it's not quite that much. But this is something that I've come to that I think is really important. And it's like after this cycle where I'm hitting all these things super specifically, then I just need to kind of play, and it teaches my nervous system like, hey, yeah, at the end of the day, you just try to make this sound good. So, in order to make it sound good, I'm going to sit lower on this little bench here. It's kind of far away. Move this back. Okay, that's better. Much better. I don't like stools as a performer. It does not work well for me. Yeah, this is much better. Ah. Mistakes, that's okay. So I play the melody, but the tone, I don't know if you guys can hear the tone quality coming out of the accordion, but it really is, all of those notes are starting to sound so much better than if I played the old way that I used to play. Where? And that's where I'm just playing, I'm still using a lot of compression, but I'm pressing all the way down, smash on those keys. Whereas what I'm trying to do is play super on the surface. Okay, so after I play the melody, then I go ahead and improvise. And what I do is I usually make it not quite rubato, but thanks, Bertie. I'm glad that you can hear the difference, because I can. I'm positive you guys will all hear, but I don't know how much it translates through the miracle of modern science live stream. What was I going to say? So after this, it's called, I call it the jazz sandwich, because that's how jazz is played. You play the melody, then you improvise over the tune, and then you play the melody again. So I played the melody. Now I'm going to improvise over the tune. And usually what I do, in fact, always what I do, is I go, okay, let me just play only stuff that's scales for a while. And then I'm going to do only stuff that's like arpeggios for a while. And then that's usually it. So I'll improvise a little bit of that. Listen, and I usually kind of take the tempo down to where I feel in control, which is usually pretty slow. So this is the scales. Yeah. Let me get into the zone. do arpeggios. Too much I'm getting out of I'm reading the chat. Shit. Melody. That should be out. I don't have the melody there. Gotta get the air. Okay. And it sounds French because that's the way they play. That is the way. At least I know everybody that came through the Jacques Mornay school plays like that. And I've heard sort of rumors and stuff that like the origins of this is sort of how the musette players would play anyways, that sort of thing. The more I talk to my friends who knew Frank Morocco and were around him, jazz accordion player from the United States, Frank Morocco, they say he played like this, and you listen and you can hear not everything, every single thing, but a lot. It just is, I love it. It's not, there is no one right way to do a thing. And there are so many ways to accomplish a thing, but this one I love the sound of it. I will be starting my group class on the accordion yoga, where we will be hanging out probably for like no more than an hour, probably like 45 minutes or something. Keep it simple, keep it focused, really chill, lots of relaxation. And we'll be going over all this stuff, starting super slow, super smooth. We'll do lots of stuff together. And then from doing very simple things together, you'll understand how to do this on your own music. So, okay, that's where I'm at with all that stuff. And great key, A flat minor, wonderful. It's I'm trying to think, are there any tunes in the key of A flat minor? Like, standards that get called an A flat minor. I can't think of it, but certainly you would have sections that go to A flat minor. I also can't think of that. All right, let's try to put this up. So, if anybody has cool accordion music that we should listen to, put it in the chat. And thanks, Anne. Thanks for the for telling me what you guys hear, because you've heard me do this over the weeks. I hear it too, and I'm just completely addicted to it. It is also, I don't want to say it's a revelation to relax, because Natalie Bouchek's basically everything I'm showing there, I learned from her in my private lessons with her, more or less. I mean, it's like, they're not my ideas. Putting them together sort of in this jazz way, in this cycle of practice, and doing with it what I'm doing, but it's their technique. And I'm just, I don't know. I don't want to be like an acolyte, or like, when you're like, oh, there's only one way. It's just what I'm into. It's really beautiful. I'm getting so many spam calls and all kinds of spam stuff today. Anyways, okay. I hope everyone's doing okay out there. The world is really crazy, and it's really stressful for every single person that I know. And I don't know a single person that's not stressed out and freaked out about whatever's going on in the world. I'm not going to give my opinion on it. It's not necessary, but I hope everyone's doing okay with that as well. Let's listen to something else. I don't know. What should we listen to? one more thing, and then we'll get into the artist way, which is we're almost done with it. It's kind of interesting. Let me share this so you guys can see too. There we go. Okay. Paolo Russo. See if I can find something cool here real quick. I listened to a little bit of this. It's a little too intense. Barcelona Gypsy Ball. Let's check this out. We've listened to them. I think Sarah, when I had Sarah on to talk about klezmer, I think she showed us this band and I subscribed them. They have these beautiful videos as well. Okay, so we'll do this and then we'll do Artist Way. Okay, so you know what I want to do actually, before we go on to the Artist Way, is Maxime Novus is the person that I was mentioning, the young man who, young to me, I'm 42. Maxime's, I don't know, he was 20. I don't actually know how old he is, but he has been a student of Jacques and Natalie for like his whole life, just about. I mean, and he is just super dedicated. And this is him performing now. He's competing in the Junior Coupe Mondiale. Coupe Mondiale is the World Cup of accordion. It's like the Olympics of accordion, really, truly. I mean, it's in terms of the Olympics being the best athletes that exist on Earth, you know. It's not necessarily a competition of art. It is a competition of expression, and just mastery of the instrument and technique and all that sort of stuff. Anyways, let's check out some or all of this. I don't know. I mean, we heard this at the beginning, so we don't necessarily need to hear it again, but I am kind of curious to hear some of it. It's the same piece, Rondo Capriccioso, and Maxime plays on the surface, like I was just showing you. That's what he does. And I'm curious now to kind of hear the same tune again from him, and with this approach to the touch. This is from 2 years ago, though. Let's see. Let me see. That would have been when I was there. Oh, that's a little Maxime. This is when he started at Cinema. That was him. Okay, I thought that here we go. Here we go. Okay. This is Coupe Mondiale. This is from last year, 6 months ago. Let's listen to this. Is this the same piece? Let's see. Here it is. Okay. We probably won't listen to all this. Oh, no, it's a different Zolotarev. Well, I know he's going to the Royal Conservatory in Belgium now. I heard that through the pike. Let's see. Prelude and fugue in G sharp minor. Okay, and I'll stop there. I wish we could hear his left hand better. Those churches are probably great to be in live, but iPhone video not so good. Very, very cool. Okay. All right. So let's see. Let me hook up the iPad and then we'll get into the artist way. The penultimate week of the artist way. Can we believe it? I can't believe it, guys. Here we go. All right. Books. Okay. What a journey. I mean, think about when we started this, guys. What were you doing? Was the beginning of the year, was the first, it wasn't literally the first day of the year, but it was the first live stream of the year. Not that many days after the first of the year. And it's been a journey. This is really fun. Intense. The weeks have flown by, Anne says. Yeah, I agree. Okay, so I'm going to go here, share the iPad. Oh, wait, I got to connect the iPad here. What kind of music are you excited to play on the accordion these days? Anyone watching? It might be, the only people watching might be Anne and Bertie right now, although I know lots of people watch on the replays. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Share the screen. Yeah, A flat minor. Alvin says A flat minor. El Choclo. Yeah. And that piece that I played by Maxime was in G sharp minor, which is the same thing, right? How's it going, Alvin? Why can't I? Uh-oh. It's being weird. Hang on, guys. Are you still there? Okay, there we go. All right. Okay. So this is the time of the show where we do this a kind of book club thing. We've been going through The Artist's Way, which is a book written by Julia Cameron. It's very famous in the United States. I don't know about other places in the world. In the United States, it's been around for decades, I think like since the 90s or 80s. And most people in the arts, regardless of what they do, have done the book or started the book and not finished it or know of the book. Very, very famous. And every week for 12 weeks, we're going to do this. And there's actually like an epilogue. And I went forward and I found that in my copy, I don't know which version you guys have, but in this copy, there's actually at the very end, there's instructions for how to do this with a group of people, which I wish I would have read before now, but hey, that's okay. This has been great. And anyway, so this is the second to last week, and then we have next week, and then I don't know. I think maybe I'll just combine it because it's like 12 weeks is enough. Like we don't need for this to go on forever. I am certainly changed by it. Absolutely. It's been interesting. I guess I won't reflect now. Maybe that's for next week or even the week after to reflect on this. But there we go. Now you should be able to hear me. Is that correct? Yes, I think so. Yes. Okay. All right. Thanks all. All right. So I think we can kind of zip through this one. So this chapter, there are, she breaks these chapters down into like little sections or ideas. And the first one is about acceptance, which is about two ideas, which is about not associating our, not associating the value of our art that we make with the idea that we can make a lot of money from it. And at the same time, also not, at the same time, allowing ourselves as an artist to be able to do artistic things in addition to responsible things like make money and that sort of thing. The second one is about success, which is about a couple ideas. One of them is the idea that for us artists, we artists, we are working towards goals. And as soon as we get the goal, that kind of disappears. And then the next goal appears at some point after that. And how important that is, how it's very natural and important. And let's see, what did she say about this? What else is in here? Let's see. Well, I'm going to go through all these notes. I'm just trying to give like a little summary. And then she talks about movement. She finishes up the chapter talking about how important movement is to us as artists, because it gets us out of our heads and into our bodies. And that allows us to sort of receive more creative solutions and ideas. And then actually the final thing is an idea for us to build an altar or like sort of a sacred spiritual space for ourselves as artists. Okay, so I will get into it. This is always what I do, is recite what I have highlighted in my little notes and thoughts, and you guys in the chat can interact with me. The more the merrier. So she says, I am an artist. As an artist, I may need a different mix of stability and flow from other people who aren't artists. I may find that a 9-to-5 job steadies me and leaves me freer to create. There's nothing that doesn't make me not an artist, right? I can think of, let's see, John Cage, who's a famous American composer. No, pardon me. What's his name? Charles Ives, famous American composer, sold insurance professionally. I'm trying to think of other artists that, other notable artists that also had sort of day jobs, so to speak. But anyways, so that doesn't mean that we're not an artist. She says she may also find that a 9 to 5 job drains her of energy, or us of energy, and leaves her unable to create, and that we have to experiment. So it could be one or the other, and there is no right answer for everybody. No law says that we must be broke all the time. Broke means poor, for anybody that doesn't know that phrase. But the odds are good that we may be broke some of the time as artists. Yeah, that's my experience. Being true to the inner artist often results in work that sells, but not always. So if you're making great true art, it often sells more, but not always. It does, but that doesn't matter. And she says, I have to free myself from determining my value and the value of my work by my work's market value. The idea that money validates my credibility is very hard to shake. I sort of agree with that. It's hard. I mean, it's hard. It's hard also to justify it. And I like that she uses this term market value. It's not a phrase. It's a phrase I know a little bit from like economic theories and stuff, but it's not a phrase that I'm used to using. But she has used it, and it's a nice framing for things. You know, a market value really frames the value in a way of like, okay, this is an exchange of currency and labor and goods and sort of our capitalist system. But that's all it is. You know, it doesn't mean that the art has value to us or anybody else, really, or is good or bad. And she says, if I have a poem to write, I need to write that poem, whether the poem will sell or not. I'm going to continue reading. There's this chapter in particular was chock full of tons of highlights. It just seemed like I tried to like see if I could summarize or highlight only certain parts of it, but it just seemed like there was so much that I need to just go. So I apologize for this. She says, I need to create what wants to be created, right? I cannot plan a career to unfold in a sensible direction dictated by cash flow and marketing strategies. I cannot, what's left out of there, I cannot plan an artistic career that's going to be dictated by cash flow and marketing strategies as an artist. That's kind of like antithetical. Those things are fine, but too much attention to them can stifle the child within, the artist child, who gets scared and angered when continually put off. Children, as we all know, do not deal well with later or not now. And I that's one of the revelations or discoveries that I'm finding, that I have found through this course, this book, is to, like, first I was understanding it as being selfish, you know, like, okay, well, I got to respond to this student's email, or I got this booking email, or I got to, like, you know, pay this bill or something. But like, let me practice a little bit of accordion first, and then I'll get there. And that's okay. I don't have to like delay until I've done all of my like quote unquote responsibilities. And that's been working really good for me. Like whatever the result of that mindset has gotten me to playing on the surface and this flow, and I'm feeling really good and excited. And I think you guys are too. I know Birdie had hit a great flow with practice, and Anne had. We kind of come in and out, but in general, it's been really nice. She says, this is the red box. Since my artist is a child, as a metaphor or a kind of a symbolic personification of our artist spirit is a child, within, I must make some concessions to the child's sense of timing. Some concessions does not mean total irresponsibility, of course. What it means is letting the artist have quality time, knowing that if I let it do what it wants, it will cooperate with me doing what I need to do. The green highlight. As an artist, I must be very careful to surround myself with people who nurture my artist, not people who try to overly domesticate it for my own good. And that was like an earlier chapter. Actually, the first chapters were about kind of unraveling, detangling, examining those. Probably the first half of the book was about that, from our parents and our early experiences as creative people. The red box here. To a large degree, my life is my art, and when it gets dull, so does my work. As an artist, I may poke into what other people think of as dead ends. And she gives some examples. A dead end could be like a punk band that I mysteriously fall for, a piece of gospel music that hooks my inner ear, a piece of red silk I just like to add to a nice outfit, thereby ruining it. As an artist, I may frizz my hair or wear weird clothes. I may spend too much money on perfume in a pretty blue bottle, even though the perfume stinks, because the bottle lets me write about Paris in the 30s. So just giving into these little things for the child, the child inside of us. And I sort of thought of that on my trip, or this morning. I did the reading this morning, some yesterday on the ferry back, and then the rest of it this morning pretty early. And I posted it, and I posted some photos from the concert, from the performance by Alexei. And I thought it was expensive. It was like one of those things where, dang, like I didn't think a ferry would be like 118 Canadian dollars each way. That's a lot of money to see 1 hour of concert accordion music. So that's plus, yeah, so that's 2 plus a car rental, and then just a whole day, out, not with the other people that I went on vacation with. So it was like, it was very much indulging a thing that I thought was cool. And for just a little bit of amount of time. Like I saw Adam for a few minutes, really. We didn't have dinner or drinks or anything like that, or lunch. I said hi and visited for just a moment. I met Yelena and I listened to the concert, and then we left. We did a hike on the island, but I put that into this category, or that's how I sort of like acknowledge it. And I don't sort of beat myself up around that. And I think I know it is very important. And I need more of these things. I think we all need more of them, not necessarily to spend $118 Canadian on a ferry one way, but to go with our instincts, to treat our creative self to things that we want. She says, as an artist, I write whether I think it's any good or not. I shoot movies other people may hate. I sketch bad sketches to say, I was in this room, I was happy, it was May, and I was meeting somebody I wanted to meet. And that's advice I have from a wonderful friend of mine who's a pretty prolific creator, especially in earlier years of my life. He was a good friend. We played a lot together. And the fear of documenting something, or of recording a thing or performing it, he would share his inner kind of dialogue, which is just, hey, like, this is just a documentation of this moment. That's all this is. That's all it needs to be. Like, we don't have to. That's like a little kind of mental judo or whatever, like a little trick to just be like, it's okay. Like, that's just where I am right now. This is a snapshot of this moment, of this beautiful thing that I made, or ugly or in progress thing. Okay. So then she says, let's see, 2.5 years to make one 90 piece of film, 5 drafts of one play, 2 years working on a musical. Throughout it all, daily, I show up in the morning pages and I write about my ugly curtains, my rotten haircut, my delight in the way the light hit the trees on the morning run. As an artist, I do not need to be rich, but I do need to be richly supported. I cannot allow my emotional and intellectual life to stagnate, or the work will show it. This is a theme that has been coming up, and I would say the last third of the book so much, or last half maybe, that we have to give ourselves self-care as an artist. And if we are a stuck artist, which anybody into this book would, I think, label themselves as, otherwise you don't need this book, a major way to get unstuck is to do self-care, which is giving ourselves the pleasure of making art, giving ourselves the pleasure of exploring small things, treating ourselves, as she talked about, little small luxuries in one chapter earlier. I cannot allow my emotional and intellectual life to stagnate, or the work will show it. My life will show it. My temperament will show it. I don't need to create. I get crabby. As an artist, I can literally die from boredom. I kill myself when I fail to nurture my artist child because I am acting like somebody else's idea of an adult. The more I nurture my artist child, the more adult I am able to appear. Spoiling my artist means it will let me type a business letter. Ignoring my artist means a grinding depression. There is a connection between self-nurturing and self-respect. If I allow myself to be bullied and cowed by other people's urges for me to be more normal or more nice, I sell myself out. They may like me better, those other people. They may feel more comfortable with me, my more conventional appearance and behavior, but I will hate myself. Hating myself, I may lash out at myself and others. I sabotage my artist. So let's see. That was cool. And denial, I wrote, my denial of self as an artist equals death of self. So we just have to acknowledge that we're artists and we have to create. We just have to do it. To be an artist, this is at the bottom of the page. To be an artist is to recognize the particular, to appreciate the peculiar, to allow a sense of play in our relationship to accepted standards, to ask the question why, To be an artist is to risk admitting that much of what is money, property, and prestige strikes you as just a little silly. And I would imagine Bertie and Anne and Alvin, probably you all agree with that. I have some relatives that I don't know if they do. They seem to really like those things more than art, creative, but I don't know. They might agree with me too. It is not to keep trying. Let's see. To be an artist is not to keep trying to be something that we aren't. If we are happier writing than not writing, if we're happier painting than not painting, if we're happier singing than not singing, acting than not acting, directing than not directing, for God's sake, and I mean that literally, let yourself do it. Like, let yourself not create those things. If that's what makes you happier. Hi, guys. So she goes on to say, to kill your dreams because they are irresponsible is to be irresponsible to yourself. Credibility lies with you and God, not with a vote of your friends and acquaintances. And I think that's all super heavy. And she's really kind of hitting us over the head with it now, you know, just saying, like, just let yourself be the thing that you are, you know, get unstuck and just be, just create. So the next section of really three major sections in this chapter and one really tiny little addendum at the end is about success. And she talks about, I don't really feel like continuing to read all this stuff, but she talks about how, as I mentioned earlier, when we do achieve a point of success, say learning a particular tune on the accordion, that goal sort of just disappears and we just end up with another goal further out there. Something, the next thing. And maybe it's not in the same genre, which I like that she acknowledges. That's very cool. And that's natural and normal. So she says, like, what I have, this red highlight, just when we get there, the there disappears. Let's see. This unfinished quality, this restless appetite for further exploration tests us. We are asked to expand in order that we don't contract. In evading this commitment is an evasion that tempts us all, leads us straight to stagnation, discontent, spiritual discomfort. As artists, we are spiritual sharks. The ruthless truth is that if we don't keep moving, we sink to the bottom and die. And how cool. I really like this part because I find it useful so that I don't sort of beat myself up and be like, oh, you know, why am I not just staying on this path? Like, you know, you did a little bit on this path and then you kind of went over to this other path and worked a little bit there and then over here. And it's like, that's okay. That's just how it is. We're searching and for new things. The stringent requirement of a sustained creative life is the humility to start again and to begin anew. Okay. And then she tells some stories about either real or fictional people, I don't know, but about how they maybe are too committed to generating wealth and they neglect their art because of that. And again, she talks about like sort of the market framing of that. I'm going to finish this little section. There's more here, but I think it's good. I don't need to recite the whole chapter. So this last little box here, artists can and do responsibly meet the demands of their business partnerships as far as making money. What is more difficult and more critical for us as artists is to continue to meet the inner demand of our own artistic growth. That's more important. And her thesis here, or what she's telling us, is just if you do both and you make sure that you don't neglect your artist self, those other things that feel so important, they will get taken care of, and they're more likely to get taken care of easily if we nurture our artist selves, which is really cool. Okay, then the last part is something really, really cool, which is about being in the body, which I think a lot about. And I actually wrote a little note, I think over here. Yeah. So, and I don't really need to read too much of this because it's a sort of a relatively simple idea. And that idea is that we should get out of our heads, and not only out of our heads, but out of just constantly like looking at ourselves and thinking about our own ideas. We should get into our bodies. And she says just through simple movement. Most of her ideas are just running or walking or some form of exercise. She doesn't talk about too much other than that. But what she does say is that when we do that, we're more likely to find solutions to problems that we have. And that's because we get out of our just kind of reflective, just being sort of self-obsessed with our own ideas and caught in that cycle. And by getting into our bodies and out of our heads, we then create an ability for the outside creative like energies, which she talks about how the universe just has a creative sort of energy to it, that those solutions will come to us. And I like that so much. I just want to share something that I wrote here in the margins, which is part of my, kind of leaving the West Coast and moving to the East Coast at the age of 22 and living on my own and becoming my own adult and finding myself and all that stuff. One of the things that I recognize there is I think I grew up with my parents in an environment that was very, very heady and thinky. They weren't intellectuals, but they just thought a lot about a lot of stuff. And especially my dad, he was always kind of like ruminating on things and asking questions really his whole life about like, what's up with life? Why are we here? What does it all mean? That sort of thing. And I don't have that same sort of like, it was almost like a burden for him. Like he really needed to know, but it's also a way of being. And that way worked for him. It was his way. It was the way he was. And because I grew up with him, it was the way that I was too. But over time, being on my own and not living with them, like we all do, I found my way is not that so much. It's much more experiential. And it gives me a lot more relaxation and centeredness and happiness to be sort of the sensations of the body, to have information which is from lived experience, from experiencing it and doing it, rather than sort of something I read in a book or I learned about, but rather than that, actually something that I did. And this reminds me of this too. I don't know if you guys can relate to that. But some people, I don't know. It's like a scale, it's like a scale. And I think that the playing music for me is very much of the sensations. It's very much of the five senses and not sort of the thoughts. There is a very intellectual sort of part of it all surrounding music and that sort of thing. But ultimately, it's about the sound. And that's literal vibrations, in a sense that we have. It's about the feeling of the accordion. It's about the feeling of rhythm. It's about the emotional feeling. It's about all of that stuff, which is very, very much of the body and it creates a hyper presentness, I think. And I think when we are doing our thing as good as we can, we are very much hyper present, which means that we're not hyper intellectual and like either in the future or in the past, or like running around an idea. We're just doing it. We're literally just doing it. And two, that presentness brings us just more satisfaction with the process of either performing music or practicing music or listening to music. Any of those. Anyways, okay, I'll read a couple more and then we'll wrap it up. So the goal is to connect to a world outside of us, to lose the obsessive self-focus and self-exploration and simply explore. One quickly notes that when the mind is focused on the other, the self often comes into a far more accurate focus. And this is what she's saying we will get when we are able to get out of our heads. And she says to do that by doing physical stuff every day, like taking a walk, going for a run, just being in your body and not in your head. It's really kind of as simple as that. I liked this. Life is a series of hurdles. This person, Libby the painter. Life is a series of hurdles. She said, Libby said, I used to see life as a series of obstacles or roadblocks. Now I see them as hurdles and challenges. And part of this learned creative patience has to do with connecting to a sense of universal creativity, which is a thesis of this whole book, that from the very beginning, we learned that like we're supposed to see all of existence as an expression of creativity, that there is the great spirit of everything, like the thing behind, below all things, underneath all of it, at the bottom of the stack of turtles is creativity. That's what we're supposed to see. And by being alive and by being creative, we're connecting to that most essential property of existence. And so she's doing that here. Cool. Yeah, I had a note to read that, but it's good. So I'll just read this final little red thing here. As we said before, we learn by going where we have to go. We learn by going where we have to go. If we listen to ourselves, we know where we need to go. Exercise is often the going that moves us from stagnation to inspiration. It moves us from problems to solutions, pardon me, and it moves us from self-pity to self-respect. And that's sort of the end of that section about the what is it called? The Zen of sports. The Zen of sports, yeah. But she means being in our bodies and moving, being active. And then this final thing is she doesn't go very deep into it at all. She just says basically, in your house, you should have some small area, whether it's a little corner with a little chair or somewhere, someplace, should be your little sort of sacred spiritual space for yourself as an artist to put you into this place of spiritual reflection. And she also says that you should do create very small rituals which help kind of saturate and make you hyper present in these things that we want to do. Okay. And that's essentially the end of this chapter. So we're going to do our tasks for this week. We're going to do our artist date. We're going to do our artist pages. We're going to continue to make our music and live our creative lives. And then next week, we're going to dip into the final chapter of The Artist's Way. And that's it. Live from Vancouver, I'm going to say goodbye to you all. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for watching. Really fun. I can tell you, let's see, next week I'll be back in Pennsylvania with my normal setup and stands and all that sort of stuff. And so there will be more playing and stuff. And I will do a segment on a Django tune for Gypsy Jazz. And yeah, that's all. You're welcome, Bertie. You're welcome, Anne. Take care, everybody. Have a wonderful week. Feel free to go to risingread.com and you can hit me up if you have any questions. I'll see you guys next week.